I think Roseland was important for us because it was New York. I'm a New Yorker. Our audiences in New York have always been magnificent. It's a city that if you capture it, they're yours forever. And if you don't, they'll hate you for the rest of your life. So I've always been very, very lucky to have a wonderful relationship with people in New York. Very knowledgeable, you know, in music and sports and all the things that I really care about. So it's a challenge. I think once you're secure in the work that you're going to do, if your band is great and you're good enough inside of it, whether it's the guitar player, the drummer, or et cetera, then you should be pretty confident. We were very confident about what we were going to do. But of course there is some pressure. You have camera people roving around on the stage that you don't normally have, of course. So it is kind of startling some few times. I was only frightened to death once that night. I turned around and forgot that there was a camera there, because I think that's the way it should be approached. You must forget that the camera people are there doing this, or else you play to them, or you play to your worst side, perhaps. But it was not very pressure-filled for me. Those things just don't bother me. I've just been always very lucky about that. You know, when asked the question, so do you get really nervous before you go out? My answer is always, no. Why shouldn't I be nervous about what I'm doing? I'm excited about it, but I'm not nervous because I know I'm going to be good. And at least I know I'm going to try to be good. And I know that everyone else feels that same way in this band because that's our methodology. So pressure for me, and I didn't feel any. But probably just in the back of my mind, I'm sure there was a little tinge going, oh, we're filming this, aren't we? I better not hit that note. And it probably did happen a few times, but basically it was without pressure for me. It was a complete and utter coincidence that it happened to be Friday the 13th at Roseland. But you know, sometimes they're coincidence. They're not a coincidence because they're meant to be for a reason. I mean, I guess it worked out. You know, it was perfect. Friday the 13th has never had any significant meaning for me or any purpose. I mean, to me, it's always been another day, like your birthday, like Christmas, like Easter, like Valentine's Day. To me, they're just days, and they're going to be gone tomorrow. So Friday the 13th, as much as it should be, or people would assume would be a part of my my own inner workings, is not true at all. It's just another day to me. I've just always been one who's never allowed anything that I couldn't control to have control over me. And that is a superstition, and that will never have a control over me. So no, those things are not part of my life. Well, I don't believe in either heaven and hell as a place to go to, that you know, when we die we're going to go down and burn for a while, or if we're good we're going to go up there and be happy for a while, or purgatory where all the poor little baptized babies are hanging out. You know, I think anybody who's got that kind of, anybody who came up with that idea that there's going to be a place where little children are going to be hanging out for the rest of their lives, you know, is either the sickest person on earth or the most stupid person on earth. And I think both of those things apply. So I don't believe in any of those things. My belief in heaven and hell is right here. This is where we are. This is heaven, this is hell. You make your own heaven, you make your own hell. Hell, good and evil, God, the devil, reside in each one of us. I don't have to go to a place to pray. Yeah, I can pray inside myself. I can pray to whomever I want to inside myself and get the same results. I don't need to be told by a priest that I'm bad, or to be told by a nun that I'm not learning my project properly and get smacked on the hand with a ruler. Who the hell are you to do that to me? Or to be told that here's God, and God is a guy who's been nailed up on a piece of wood. It's not the way I want to think of life. I don't think of it that way. And with all the religions that they are preaching all the same things, it's real one great big homogenized thing anyway. At the end of the day, if we all just believe in the same thing, you know, that we got a choice between good and evil. Hey, make your choice. That's all it's about to me. So writing those songs perhaps brought out a little bit of my cynical side, but what it brought out of me is what I believe in life. And that is that, you know, we are the last in line. And, you know, there is heaven and hell if you consider that it's what people do to you that make it heaven and hell, which is, that goes right to the song. The world is full of kings and queens who'll blind your eyes and steal your dreams. That's heaven and hell. That's what heaven and hell is. The heaven when the people tell you how good they're going to treat you, and the hell when you find out it was all a lie, wasn't it? That's what heaven and hell is to me. I don't need someone to come to me and ask me to do something that I don't want to do and shouldn't do anyway. I've done a lot of seances in my life, some very, very unusual ones, very, very unusual ones, especially in Rainbow. Richie was very steeped in that knowledge, and Sabbath, Tony was steeped in it too, and luckily so was I. So we knew a lot about it. And there's a difference. The difference is that when you know what you're dealing with and you're not afraid of it, and you don't do silly things. And if you're secure in yourself, you're going to be okay. But, seances and Ouija boards and all those kind of things can take people to places where they shouldn't be and places where they probably didn't want to go to. But those things happen. Me, again, I was smart enough to know what was going on. The seances that I've been part of were so frightening that, I don't deal with it anymore. I don't ever have a seance in my home, ever, because then you invite that same presence back that I had before, and it's a pretty terrible thing. I mean, it's really scary. I mean, if that doesn't make you think that, well, maybe there is a hell, then nothing will. But then if, an intelligent being goes, well, no, it's got to be something else. It's got to be. But it leaves room for speculation, and that's what's important. I think once everything is so cut and dry that there is no good and there is no evil, et cetera, then, then what are we going to talk about? The next baseball game? Nah, life is more important than that. But I've done all that, and so I know how to approach it. And I know that it's not important for me to do it anymore. And actually, it's important for me not to do that anymore. I think that you're always influenced by the things you hear as you're growing up. In my hometown, we had loads of people who were residents of the city, of New York City, who came to the university in my hometown. And so they brought with them their music that we never would have heard in the farm town we lived in. And so they brought, mainly R&B stuff. So I listened to Sam Cooke and Jackie Wilson, Sam and Dave, all those people, James Brown. I was really into the R&B section of it all, which was great because it gives you gives you a blues feel for things that maybe you never would have had you only listened to an opera singer or played classical music. So I was very lucky in that respect. But those were the people I listened to, and then of course, then Elvis and the Beatles came along. Well, there's certainly a lot of time between them, but Elvis, who changed the face of the world, and the Beatles, who changed the face of the universe as far as I was concerned. So those would always be the people I wanted to be like in a rock and roll vein. I mentioned the opera thing. That was important to me too, because crossing over like that and combining the two things was something no one else had done. And I realized early on that it was important to do something that no one else had done. Uniqueness is what makes you important. Being bland and the same as everyone else makes you bland and the same as everybody else. So those are the people I listened to, but when the Beatles happened, and that was really it for me. But of course Zeppelin, Deep Purple too, Sabbath. I think what's happened is that there's lead singer disease, as they call it. Luckily I haven't had to be treated for that yet. I'm sure there are other people who might think that I'm supposed to be. There's a great difference to me between lead singer disease or lead guitar disease and someone who knows what the hell he's doing. That's the difference. It has nothing to do with their idiosyncrasies. These people are like that because they're damn good at what they do, and that singers and guitar players. And they have a vision in their mind, and it needs to be this way, and that's the right way. Well, if you're a great guitar player or a great singer, then you're going to have the luxury to be able to do it your way, unless you're in a band where you've got a guitar player and singer who have problems, and that seems to be the rule of thumb. There's also something else that comes into it, and that is that singers are not looked upon by other people in a band as a musician. They are looked upon as the singer and the poser and all the other things that they can't do, that they want to do. But I don't find, sure, there are poser singers and there are poser this and poser, and there are singers who aren't musicians. I'm a musician. I played all my life. Started at 5 years old, always was a player. So I have the respect of the people I play with, even the picky guitar players. That's why I was able to function amongst those great players, amongst Richie, Tony, Doug, Viv, I'll name them all, Rowan, Craig, Tracy, all those, great people that I played with. I got their respect because if you can talk to them in their musical terms, then you're accepted as part of one of the musicians. And that's the only way you ever get respect. This band is more like the first Dio band, where we all really liked each other a lot. I think we like each other a lot more in this band than we did in the other one. Everybody's really great at what they do. We're all mature individuals now. We're not dealing with problems we've had before. Everybody's just a great guy in this band, and everybody's a real musician, and that's what counts. know, we still do the same stupid things that all musicians do, but not maybe as many of them. And, you know, we maybe still drink too much and party too much, but that's what it's all about as well, you know. But we're, you know, mature enough to realize that the gig is what counts. And the other things, you take them as they come, but you don't let it get in the way of the show that you have to do, because that's the most important. And that's the best part about this band, that everyone musically feels the same way. We must have a perfect show tonight. You can never have a perfect show, but if you have the idea that you're going to try to have a perfect show all the time, then at least where you're going to go is going to be a good place. So these guys are, you know, again, you can't compare them to the guys in Rainbow or Sabs. Those are different times and different people. But this one is, I think, the best of the people I've ever played with, just certainly from an attitude perspective. And musically, I think they're great.